Yo, what's going on, guys? SCJ here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about why the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo seems to be a lock to win the NBA MVP award and most likely win it over the man who's in a very close race with him in this year's tight MVP race, LeBron James. The MVP race is a super tight race this year, like I said, and until around December-ish, I would say, I actually had LeBron as my MVP. Then I really dug deep and looked into the numbers and the race overall and changed the guy that I see winning and the guy who probably deserves it to Giannis. So after an incredible season last year, Giannis Antetokounmpo was named the 2019 NBA MVP. Giannis put up incredible numbers, averaging 27.7 points, 12.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, and 1.3 steals, as well as 1.5 blocks per game. He also did that on a superb 57.8% shooting in the 72 games that he played. It may have taken him 6 seasons to really develop and grow into the player that he is, but he was only 24 years old last season. Nevertheless, though, it really looked like we had finally seen the peak of Giannis' potential. However, everyone who felt that way has somehow been proven wrong. Reason being is Giannis is somehow putting up an even better season overall with the numbers that he's putting up. This year, Giannis is putting up averages of 29.6 points, 13.7 rebounds, 5.8 assists, and 1 steal as well as 1 block per game. His shooting percentage has decreased, but not by too much, as now he's shooting 54.7%. However, I think the only reason for this is as he's attempting more threes per game this season, as he's increased his three-point attempts from 2.8 to 4.8 per game. And I'm sure most of you know that he's simply not a great three-point shooter. However, he's upped his three-point field goal percentage from last year, going from 25.6% to 30.6%. So he's definitely improved upon his three-point shooting, to say the least. So with that said, Giannis seems like a runaway choice for the MVP award, right? That may be true, but this season, LeBron's currently having a historic one also, and one of his best. LeBron is averaging 25.7 points, 7.9 assists, and a league-leading and also career-high 10.6 assists per game. So LeBron, of course, is having a historic season, like I said, just like Giannis, and he's on track to become one of 6 men to average 25 points and 10 assists over the course of a single season. This is personally a big deal in my opinion, as some of the other guys who accomplished this were point guards or guys that were known to pass the ball, like James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Oscar Robertson. I know Harden is known as pretty much a ball hog, or is looked at as a ball hog from fans and such, but he is a guard and he does still pass the ball a lot, obviously, and that stat does show that, and from his accomplishments you can see that. Nevertheless, though, LeBron accomplishing that as a non-point guard is definitely another big accomplishment for his career. However, I do consider LeBron a point guard who is just such a physical specimen that it might be silly for teams to put him at the point guard position instead of putting him at the 3 or 4 spot and allowing him to guard players of his size. So in terms of comparing those two guys' numbers, Giannis is 3rd in the league in rebounds, only behind centers, and those two guys are Andre Drummond and Hassan Whiteside. And while Antetokounmpo's 29.6 points per game and LeBron's 25.6 don't look enormous, Giannis plays 4 fewer minutes per game than LeBron, and I think that's personally a huge deal. Giannis also has insane per 36-minute numbers. Giannis is only the 3rd player in NBA history to ever average 35.5 points per 100 possessions. He averages more combined rebounds and assists per 36 minutes with 22.7 than either Wilt Chamberlain, who averaged 20.8, or James Harden, who averaged 12.2 in both of their best scoring seasons. He's also had a higher field goal percentage than either of those guys. There is a legitimate argument to be made that on a per minute basis and just statistically overall, Giannis is having the greatest individual season in NBA history. So I'd say it's safe to say Giannis is putting up the better overall numbers for the season. But aside from putting up better numbers and such, why else is Giannis most likely the front runner or lock to win the MVP award? Well, I'm not sure how many of you guys realize this or know this, but every NBA MVP in league history has been on a 1st or 2nd seeded team in their conference, or just on the better team versus the guy that they're facing, aside from only a few MVPs in NBA history. Those few guys were Russell Westbrook, Michael Jordan, Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bob McAdoo, and Bob Pettit. So that's only 6 guys who are on a first or second seed in their conference or didn't have a better record than the guy that they were facing in the MVP race. So with that said, whether you agree with the NBA sticking to that or doing that or not, I feel that that's one thing that's in Giannis's favor, as the Bucks currently have a 53-12 record and the Lakers are currently 49-14. That's not a huge difference, and of course the Bucks have played more games than the Lakers, so they haven't played the same number of games. But in terms of their team's net ratings, the gap between them is pretty enormous, honestly. The Bucks outscore teams by 11.1 points per 100 possessions, whereas the Lakers do so by only 7.3. That gap is identical to the gap between the Lakers at 7.3 and the Jazz at 3.5. Nobody in their right mind would argue that the Jazz are close enough to the Lakers to warrant an MVP consideration for one of their players on a team basis. Yet, James has drawn consideration based in part on his team's excellence and just how well he's played this season. So let's finish this off and talk even more about history and historic things about Giannis and his team from this season. Another historic feat that Giannis can accomplish is that he also has a chance to join MJ and Hakeem and become the third man in NBA history to win the MVP award and Defensive Player of the Year award in the same season. With Giannis being on the best defensive team, as well as holding opponents to 41.9 shooting percentage against him at the rim, which is the best rate among players who have contested at least 50 shots at the rim on the season, it seems like he should be an easy choice or the frontrunner for the Defensive Player of the Year award. With Giannis being my frontrunner to win both the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year awards, and while he's also already statistically having one of the best seasons in NBA history, like I mentioned before, I truly feel that if he pulls off the historic feat and becomes the third man to win both of those awards in the same season, this will truly be one of the most special individual seasons in NBA history, and it might rank in the top 5 or top 3 best seasons by a single player all time. So while LeBron is leading the league in assists at age 35 and having a great season himself, as well as the Lakers having a historic season also, Giannis and the Bucks are still somehow having a better season than both LeBron and the Lakers respectively. And in my eyes, what LeBron and the Lakers have accomplished and done is still not enough to prevent Giannis from winning the 2020 NBA MVP award whenever it is that they end up giving out the regular season awards for the 1920 season. I want to know what you guys think though. Who do you have as your 2020 NBA MVP, and why do you have said player? Let me know down in the comment section below. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today though. If you like this video, then give it a like. If you want to see more NBA content or breakdowns similar to this one or my other videos, hit that subscribe button. And I'm SCJ, and I am out. Peace.